Yeah, there we go. I probably did change the settings for TikTok because right after we got off that long phone call, Renee, I had to go back in, and I was like, okay, I got it now. You know what? This might be the wrong. I have it as God's prayer, but my behind always say something crazy, and I did repent. Just to let y'all know, I did repent.
I doubt it.
Good for you.
Oh my God, that was God's prayer by artist Carter Dandada. You can check him out on YouTube if he still does. Welcome and thank you all for tuning into Off the Record podcast, where no topic is off limits. Giving ourselves, well as I guess, a space to share honest opinions that's uncensored, unfiltered, unscripted. So tonight's conversation is actually going to be about police use of force, necessary protection, or a system in need of reform. Um, but recently they just celebrated the Knicks win in New York with the big parade. But here's the thing. Did you see the young guy that got arrested, the young black guy that got arrested? Because he was on one side of the street and he was supposed to be on the opposite side of the street, and apparently he was trying to get what they say he was trying to get past the barricade. But in the video, you see the young man saying, "I have to get to school," because he had a regents test to take, and apparently other people was passing by through the barricade, but the police stopped him specifically and arrested or detained him, is what they're saying. And a lot of people like, didn't you hear the man said that he needs to get to class? Because apparently the Regents test in New York is it's only taken 3 times a year. And if you miss it the second time, then the makeup is in August. How is the Regents in New York? Because I heard it's the biggest test. If you fail during the school year, if you pass that, then you pass the school.
Pretty much is what you got to take to get out of high school.
That's what they're saying. So some people said they should have let him walk. They should have escorted him over to the school versus detaining him.
This is New York. They don't care nothing about that. They not going out of their way. Like the only time, let me put it this way: I haven't. Well, we used to call it a paddy wagon, but we haven't seen cops pick kids up, truancy officers. I haven't seen one of those in years.
I wonder if they did it. Well, they're saying that they did it just because he was trying to breach. But what I was reading is that apparently some people, I don't know how you have VIP out in public, but apparently some people had to purchase tickets to go closer to where the Knicks were celebrating and stuff on that side of the road. So if you didn't have a ticket, then you couldn't get over. Some people were saying that literally they had to go to work in the same area and police wouldn't even escort them into the building at their jobs. So they literally
It's the Knicks win.
You see how many people was there?
My thing is this: there's no way that you're going from one side to the next with all that was going on out there. Do I think that was overboard? Yeah, because they could have just, it's a kid. He's trying to get to school. He got to take a test. Like, they could have just let him go. Like,
what I found out is that some of the teachers and some of the students, they did a change.org for them to change the date. They were like, why don't you have it? Because apparently they're saying that this region test is already pre-scheduled the dates. So it's kind of, sometimes it's tough to change the date, but Mayor Mandami should have scheduled the celebration for Friday versus the date of the test, because in the change.org, they were talking about how they did a petition saying they should change the date, and they didn't answer any calls when people was calling in. They didn't look at the petition, nothing. So I don't know. But yeah, he got arrested or detained trying to go to school. You know, they don't want us too educated. That's my opinion. Well, let me ask you.
Well, I'm pretty sure they're pretty sure those businesses and stuff, they probably put out something like, hey, we're having a parade or we're having an event. It's going to be barricaded. Here's a detour. Or here's a different way you can get to where you're going.
Well, they had over 2 million people in the area. So I don't know how they, and then apparently they were saying that, how the barricades where they were set up, some of them didn't even make sense, where you actually blocked off for people not to get through. So I'm not sure, but yeah, I just didn't like the fact that they had detained him or arrested him for trying to get to school and trying to take a test, because apparently the next makeup test isn't until August.
They could have just let that kid go. Like, it's not that serious. It's not as if God forbid Trump was there.
I want to say something. But anyways, let's move into tonight's topic. So we're going to talk about the recent incident. So recently there was a tragic incident out of Mississippi. I can't remember the name of the town, Centobia police station, where now it's making national headlines, where a 1-year-old child by the name of Kohen Wiley was killed when a police reportedly fired at a vehicle during an alleged shoplifting incident. So my question is, when you hear a story like this coming out of Mississippi or anywhere really, what are your first reactions? Anybody can jump in. Y'all slow tonight.
No, I'm just saying it's I'm not
It's
surprised at stuff anymore. It's unfortunately I think I've become desensitized to a lot of things. It's sad that it had to be a 1-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. I heard somewhere where they said that they have regulations against shooting into moving vehicles for that reason, because you never know if the vehicle has a child in it or anything like that. What got me is when I saw the interview with the mother, she was like she held the kid up to the window to show the cops that there was a child in the car. And I'm sitting there going like, at the time, was that the smartest thing to do?
what? I thought he was in his car seat.
No, ma'am. She said right after the incident, she was in a car sitting down with someone, and she held the child up to show the police that, yeah, she said that she held the child up to show the police there was a child in the car, because she was in the passenger seat and her friend was the driver.
What?
Yeah.
This is just also tragic. It's also tragic. I
No, it's
feel
not.
like
It's not tragic. It's stupid. And
Wait, hold on, wait.
go ahead.
Let
Go
her
ahead.
finish.
But
When you say tragic, go ahead. Let me know what you have to say.
not cut me off with nah. It's just stupid.
I'm just trying not to laugh. Like,
No,
it's not funny.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I hate
She
to
always
hear
try to be,
that
she always
that
try to
this
be
happened.
politically correct, to be
You
honest.
know, who me?
Yeah. Tasha
I
B
just
also.
no, I'm serious. I just hate that this happened. I mean, at what cost? How come somebody couldn't de-escalate that situation? This is just ridiculous. I
Like the
think it's
cop, I
all
think some,
parties.
sorry, I'm like, I think they said that the cops thought that because the car was still in motion, they thought they were trying to use the car as a
as a
weapon,
weapon.
and
Hmm.
Yes.
that's why
I have a question.
fired into the
Didn't they
vehicle.
say something like the vehicle didn't move? So the only person that's stating that the vehicle moved is the police officers or the police
Right.
officer. He's the only one that's stating that the vehicle moved. But Apex, back to you. When you say it's not tragic, explain, please.
No, what I'm saying is not tragedy. The first thing about this situation is not tragedy that comes up when you start to hear. I picked up my kid to show them that in a car to show them there's a kid in the car. First of all, why? I mean, there's so many levels of stupidity that goes on. Basic stuff. If you're going to, again, when I'm saying this here, it becomes stupid to me that a tragedy or something has to happen. See, when the other events happen that are stupid, it's stupid to me. It's tragic that it had to happen. And 1 year lost their life. A lot of stuff happened. That part is tragedy. But it's not a tragic situation when you pick up a kid. I'm showing the cops a kid. Like what in your mind? I mean, at any point in time that I'm going to grab a child and pull him up, you reek of stupidity. And I
Well,
say that because
you're
no, you don't pick your child.
I hear
If
you,
you, if,
right? But in her head, she's probably thinking that that's going to de-escalate whatever may
no, it's
happen from
not. But that's what I'm
potential.
saying. That's stupidity. If you think you're grabbing a kid at any situation, you putting a kid between you and somebody else. If you ever
Well, she
have a
didn't
child,
expect them. I don't know. I don't.
I agree. I agree with
if
that.
if you have a
So
child, you
okay,
don't
let
put
me
the
ask
kid
you
up
this,
for
because
anything.
they were called. Okay,
Go ahead.
so this is, and I'm not disputing what you're saying. I have a question, because they're saying that they were called there for a shoplifting incident. Some people are saying that she paid and I guess the police officer saying, or the store Walmart is saying that she didn't pay. And this is this is gonna pose. I'm gonna pose this question to y'all to see what you think, right? Because most of the time, if you have a child that's supposed to be in a car seat, you walk to the back of the car and put the child in the car seat, right? But in this case, she had the child in the front seat. In my head, I'm thinking they probably did, not her, but in my head, I'm probably thinking that the friend shoplifted if you're in the driver's seat and the child was in the front seat with you, because that's the getaway. You're trying to get away as fast as you can. So do y'all follow me on that one, or am I wrong?
Oh, that's what I'm saying. So
I don't know if she reached back and took the kid out the car seat.
No,
but just the mere fact that you're holding the freaking kid up to the window when cops are there and they probably had their guns already out.
Let me say this, Renee. She did not put the child. She did not reach back, because from the video that I seen when she was talking, she said she already had. The child was sitting in her lap.
So when she got in the car.
For me, I'm going to say windows. What happened?
Was it tinted windows?
I don't know. I don't think they show. Well, you know what? They showed the picture. You couldn't tell if it was tinted windows or not by the picture, because they showed the bullet-ridden window. But here's the thing: if that child died, and in all honesty, if it does come out to be that they were shoplifting, I will actually charge the mother and the friend with child neglect for one, and manslaughter. I would, as a prosecutor.
I'm charging the mother already. I don't care if that's why I said that's why it's not a tragedy. Because again, if you pull from the back seat,
if you paid, stop and show your receipt. It's that simple. I mean,
somebody's like, well, you don't have to stop and show your receipt. But for me, I'm stopping, because it would save so much time.
Was that person black?
It would save so much hassle.
Yeah, she was black.
How I feel. What do you say, Apex? Because of
was that person who said I didn't have to stop with the receipt? Was that person black?
I don't know. It was a comment that I read. To be honest with you,
God.
To be honest,
here's the thing, because
black or let me
if you're black,
because I watch a lot of these. No, I'll let you finish. Go ahead.
No, what I'm saying is, if this is a black person that says you don't have to stop, you're reckless with your life. Because anyone that's black, that's been in this country and has been in stores, you ain't walking out when you know there's a suspicion of someone there. I don't care if you purchased it, I'm sitting 10 feet away. And when I was in these stores, you just saw me check out. I'm having the receipt in your face. I don't even want you to blink at me.
Right.
Because I know stupidity will happen.
So if you're black, you know this. In my hand, I'm not even putting it away.
That's what I'm saying. It's right here.
Let me say this. For me, I watch a lot of these YouTube videos and these shoplifting videos, and people are trying to be correct. A lot of times, it doesn't even matter what race they are. A lot of them white, Hispanic, they'll be like, "I'm not showing you my receipt. It's not part of your policy." And Walmart associates know they can't force you to show the receipt. That's why they call the cops and try to get you banned, right? So for me, I feel like as an individual, if you paid for that product, just go ahead and show the damn receipt. It's only a couple seconds, unless you bought $400 worth of grocery.
Well, I don't know, because here, if I go to Costco's, on my way out of Costco's, they're checking your receipt.
Yeah. But see, that's standard, right? When you go to Costco and Sam's, but with Walmart, it's not standard. People do it trying to prove a point, and I think
they also have the speedy checkout as well.
One more time.
You also have the digital checkout and stuff like that. I always said my cousin's one is idiot. And I don't say idiots. He loves the little, speedy checkout, blah, blah, blah. And he's talking to me on the phone. I'm a speedy checkout. I'm just gonna walk out the door. Have your stuff ready. He got offended. He's like, they want to even question me that if I was in the Pajamas walking out the store with stuff. I'm like, Negro, please.
Yeah.
You are walking, strolling out with a bunch of so you need to go ahead and stop.
Yeah, it's crazy. So this is one of the things that was being said, and we'll probably get into the next topic. But police officers says oftentimes they have seconds to make decisions, and critics say decisions sometimes have life-changing consequences, which brings us to basically our next topic.
Is there some commentary in the chat, Renee?
Yes, there is.
Okay, what is the commentary?
They said I really stop every time. I'm mad, but I stop immediately. Tasha, was there a situation with a prepaid cake?
Yes. I actually
It's not
had
a prepaid cake.
I actually had a order at Sam's where I prepaid. I went back to the bakery. I'm picking up the cake. They the guy putting the cake in the cart. He loaded a cake and a thing of big cupcakes, a big thing of cupcakes. And I said, "Oh, is this on my order?" He said, "Yes." I said, "Can you check the order and make sure this is my order?" "Yes, this is your order." He checks the order. I call the person that I'm picking up for, and they're like, "Hey, well, if it's on there, I might have accidentally put it on there or whatever." I get to the door to check out. It had a sticker paid. I went to the door to check out. They asked for my receipt. I show the receipt, and they stop me, say they're gonna call the cops. I'm stealing cake. You need to step over to the side. Show me. So I'm pulling up the order, and I'm like, hey, why don't y'all just go back to the bakery, right? Where the guy pulled up everything and he can confirm that this is my order and this is what I got. Next thing I know, I was there for at least a half hour. I had to call the person that ordered the cake stuff. It was a big thing. They wanted to take me to the back, in the back.
I ain't never
And
going
the
to the
lady
back.
was, yeah,
I'm like, if you
she,
take it
she,
from the back, I'll go to the back. But I ain't going.
Wow.
and she says I had to either repay for the whole order, or I had to come with her to the back, or I couldn't leave with the stuff.
Really?
And this was the manager.
Of
Yeah,
course. Mhm.
it was a huge
Well, how
issue.
you call me for almost everything else, but you ain't call me and tell me this?
I know.
And and then
And
what
it was
happened?
so backed up. It was so backed up. The line was from the little walkout place all the way to where the food, the hot dogs and stuff is. That's how long she had backed up trying to figure out this cupcake situation. And so the black guy finally said, well, I'm gonna walk back there, because she was refusing to walk back there. She was refusing to use her walkie-talkie and call back there.
A
So the
manager at
black
that.
guy, yes, the black
Wow.
guy went and he went back there and he said, "Oh, I'm sorry. He confessed to me. It was a mistake. The order is only the sheet cake, not the cupcakes and everything." And I'm like, right. But now I've been embarrassed because you're treating me like a common criminal. So I
Hmm.
just left and I called corporate, and they gave me, they always try to make it right with you or whatever. But
I don't want nothing from corporate.
No, actually, I
What
want that
right,
from
you
corporate.
right,
No,
if
you
you
need
want
to
something
give
from
me.
corporate, cut me a nice little check.
No, you give me the
But
stuff, and then you need to go ahead and put
let me
the
make this
manager on
clear because
blast.
right,
Mhm.
did you
right.
get her name? His or her name?
Yep, I got her name. I got her
Slow.
You
name.
see, that's the beauty about social media. It will blow something up so doggone quick. Okay? It's no more like Pony Express where it takes a while for it to get across the country. It
That's the
blows
only reason
something
why I
up
don't
so
mad
quick.
that I don't
And
have the
these people are
live,
so
because you
afraid of
just go
losing
Facebook
dollars.
Live. Look this lady.
Right.
I really need to learn live, but I'm not that much of a public person. So yeah, every time an innocent person dies during a police encounter, the community is saying that they ask the same question: how did it happen? Whether a child, a bystander, or suspect, the loss of life leave family searching for answers. So my big question is: should every officer involved shooting be investigated by an outside agency, not the agency
Yes.
themselves?
Yes.
Go ahead, explain.
Yes. If you're investigating in-house, it's not necessarily to find fault with the officer, it's to figure out how to clear them.
Hmm.
So you need I feel like you need an independent audit.
I feel
That
like there should be a website that you can look up officers and look up incidents that they had, and it should be public
I have to look
Mhm.
record
for that. I have to remember
across.
what it is.
I don't know if they have that, but I feel like we should be able to, like, if you encounter a police officer and they've had cases or they've had brutality or they've shot someone, that should all be public record. Um, that's what I think.
So in this case, what does accountability look like when it comes to the shooting of this 1-year-old child? From the police standpoint, what does accountability look like when it comes to the police officer? What would you like to see?
Well,
Jail.
if the
Whether she
video
stole or not, what does accountability look like?
it is, I don't think it's about the stealing. I think it's about when they were trying to run away or drive away. If that car went towards the officers and they shot into the car because the vehicle is now a weapon, that's on the person that was driving the car. That's the fault of that person.
And another thing, like the driver got hit, they're in the hospital, whatever. The baby got hit, but how's the mother not hit?
Because
Like,
the baby was
I
a
don't
shield.
understand.
That's what I think.
That's what. So that's why I say
Yeah.
this. It becomes to me. It becomes. When my initial statement.
Because
It's
that's what
not
I'm
a.
saying. I just
It's
don't
not a.
understand
Mm-hmm.
how. I just didn't understand, like, in what way, what position, how did you have this kid? How did you, when she said she had the kid at the window showing that the cops that she had a kid, like, the mechanics of it all, like, you understand what I'm saying? Like, it just didn't make sense to me. Why would you do something like that?
Goes back to
So
my first statement.
I don't think in this instance you can blame the officers. I mean, she had an opportunity, even though I was frustrated, like at the Sam's thing, I was trying to pull up all my information. If you have the receipt and you're not stealing and it's not really your fault or whatever, just show the receipt. It's not that big of a deal. Once you got out to the parking lot and you saw the officers were there, just clear it up. I mean,
Yeah, and that goes back to when I mentioned about in another episode about my situation at the electronics store. I did not show them. I didn't have anything on me. I didn't show them the papers in my pocket, but I didn't leave the store. I went ahead and said, yes, I want it to be on the record. I want it to be recorded by the officers. I didn't leave because
hmm
that portion creates a situation. So my
right.
choice was not to show them, but I also chose that I'll sit here. I have nothing to hide. I'm not going to go hide out my car and see I told no. I'm not going to escalate the situation and now you think I'm stealing whatever you think I'm stealing. I'm going
hmm
ahead and
hmm
going to put you on blast and say how dumb you are. How you going to go ahead and question me because there's no way that I did that. So you have
Right.
to you can choose not to show them, but you also got to think of a couple situations if you're really truly innocent. I mean, she could have been innocent across the board until you use a child as a shield, use a child as an excuse. When you have a child, if it's your child or anybody else's child, but if it's your child, you that's not a parental instinct. Hey, let me or here, stop. No, that's not what you do. That is the most stupidest thing I could. No, it's. I mean, as far
I
as
would
what?
it's training, but common sense it should prevail. You understand what I'm saying? There's training, and then there's in a situation what would be the common sense thing to do. Like, you understand what I'm saying? Because what was the reason for him opening fire?
Well, so okay, so this is what the allegation from the police officers that she was driving towards him. That's the allegation from the police officers why he opened fire in the vehicle, even though it was a side
Well, if
shot.
he had time to retreat or get out of the way, I feel like just you should get out of the way.
Me too. I feel
But if it's close enough that it's like, oh my gosh, you're accelerating, you're gonna hit me, then they do have, I think, that they can return deadly force. Um,
And also,
that's
if
the
they're gonna hit
same.
somebody else, there's a combination. Well, the officer or other people. So yeah, so if
Right.
they're coming toward the officer's gonna step out the way. But if they're gonna go ahead and hit 3 or 4 civilians, you got to make that call. I mean, that's where the whole instant of a second has to be judged. What it's a tough. It can be a tough call. Can I just step out the way when you're in a parking lot and things like that? You may
well,
have to
people
use the
assaulted him
force.
Because
also.
they could say they could shoot the tires out, but they'll still drive on the flat. I mean, there's a couple of things that possibly could have been done, but again, some people are saying the car was stationary. Some people are saying the car was moving. Um,
Some people
what?
blaming the officer for shooting when people was outside, but I mean, what else is he? I mean,
No, he shot into the car. So
I know,
the
but they're
people
saying
around
that
him.
but bullets don't have no name. So even if he shot into the car, it could have went through and hit somebody else on the opposite side, depending on where the car was. So they're blaming him for
Potentially.
shooting in to the car when there was a crowd of people outside as well. So I
Well,
don't know.
then what happens if the car goes in and drives into a bunch of people? So I mean, you have to make a determination. What's the best course of
Right.
action? I mean, that's what I'm saying. That's your You have a second and a half to determine if this car goes on and hits 7 to 10 people. What are you going to say about the officer? Well, the officer should have did something.
I am going to. I
That's
don't know
true.
if y'all. I've known Tasha B for a while, but I went to school for criminal justice. I was actually trying to become a police officer at one point, actual correctional and a police officer, because I felt like if you can't beat them, join them. So I might have been that. Well, it's the truth. It was the truth back then. In my early 20s, I was trying to become a police officer at one point. But I feel like you're right when it comes to something like that, a split second decision. It's either me or the person in the car. That's how I feel. And unfortunately, in this case, it took a 1-year-old child's life, but it's either me or the person. Because I think about the police officer also has to go home to a family as well.
And my thing is, if they were shoplifting, why are you bringing your child? Because just because you have a kid with you doesn't make people not look at you. Doesn't matter. Doesn't mean that because you have a kid doesn't mean that they're not going to look at you for shoplifting. Like, you understand what I'm saying? Like
I've
Because
you
they're
just
seen a court show
stupid.
one time where they're talking about crazy things. I've seen a court show where this one lady brought her child, a young child. I think the child had to be about 2 years old into the court, and the judge told the lady, "Do you think your child's going to prevent you from getting arrested today? Because that's what's going to happen." So a lot of people think that's the mindset that they have. To me, I feel like if you're not a responsible parent, then of course you're going to think something like that. But it really goes back to child neglect. Unfortunately, I feel like the mother, if they actually went there with the intent. Now, mind you, the mother still hasn't been charged with shoplifting. That's the latest news. She has not been charged with shoplifting, and the friend is still
she
in
might
critical.
not have been the person shoplifting. The friend could have been.
But
Yeah,
here's the thing: it's not
that's
the shoplifting for the mother. The mother is for, again, you only can get it for some type of child neglect. Again, the child in the front seat of a car at 1 year old
well.
with a car seat in the back, you're done. That to me is the
Can I
quintessential.
say something? I don't. Okay, for instance, and this is kind of off topic, but if I go into a bank and I rob a bank and say that you all did not know I was robbing a bank and I got in the car, y'all are also going to be charged as accessories, right? So I don't know necessarily if they're can only charge her with, because unfortunately, police and police department try to charge you with as much as they can. So I don't know necessarily if they're only going to charge you with child neglect, because in this case, if a child died in a commission of a crime, they may be able to charge her with manslaughter as well.
Oh, again,
So
I'm not disagreeing
I
with
just
what
want
she
to
should
see
be
how.
charged
That's why I'm
with.
not really touching
Yeah,
as far as like the guilt or innocent of the police officer right now, because I want to see what plays out. Because a
you
lot
can
of
play out
times
with it.
we
Yeah.
don't. One more, yeah. I don't want to vilify him or any police officer if all the information isn't in, because it wouldn't be just like how we don't want to be vilified when something happened in our community. I want to give the officer the same respect and say, let's wait till everything plays out. So I'm definitely going to follow this case. And, me, I'm a criminal justice junkie to a sense. So let me go on to the next topic, because when it comes to something like this, they all ask, where do we go from here? So most Americans agree with two things, is what I've found. We want safe communities, but we also want innocent people protected. And they're saying that it's a challenge. The challenge is actually figuring out how to achieve both. If you could implement one thing when it comes to some type of reform within the police department, what would it be? Like, some people want more training. Some people are saying it should not be. When I was taking my criminal justice course, it was actually 6 months. Some people are saying that is too short, because police officers always try to determine what the law is, and they're not privy to the law like lawyers and judges and stuff. So what would your change be? Would it be more training?
It would be a few things.
What would your few things be?
The few things, one is training. Two, stop bringing officers from different socioeconomic backgrounds into communities that they do not understand. And a lot of issues that come up is you have somebody, a cop from Long Island, let me give an example, coming into an area like Brooklyn or Queens, bringing that Long Island mentality into Brooklyn and Queens, and not understanding the area and the people that are living in those areas, and have a preconceived notion of who these people are and what these communities are, and treating them like criminals before they even hear them out or know what the situation is. And I've had situations where I had to go to the police precinct and I'm dealing with Dingleberry over here that's talking to me like I'm not shit, and I'm trying to explain the situation, and before he could hear me out, he's already being dismissive because you're so conditioned to dismiss people when they come to you looking for help, and you're
So
not from that area.
let me ask a follow-up question to you, and anybody can actually jump in on this. When you say stop bringing people from different socioeconomics, don't you find that might be kind of difficult? Because
It's
there's some
not, they
police.
purposely do it.
Well, I understand that, but there's also times when a police precinct is not staffed appropriately, so they have to bring in who they have available. So wouldn't you find it kind of difficult not to bring in somebody from a different socioeconomic background?
If they wanted to, they could. You understand what I'm saying? It's like they don't care. And they purposely bring, I don't mind you bringing different ethnicities in, but have them have some kind of training in regards to the areas that they're going into. They don't have that.
I don't know. I think I have a different viewpoint. I feel like they should do more psychological questions
Mhm.
about that person's upbringing. Have they ever been bullied? Have they ever been, are their parents in a good, stable household? Was it something, because even people have preconceived notions on cops based on their parents' experience with the cops. You know,
I know
people
that was my thought at one point. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I think it's psychological. A lot of cops have um vendettas,
Issues,
issues. They go into the traffic stop and they're already heightened. Um
trigger
and it
happy.
Yeah, trigger happy. So there's all these things that need to be looked at a little bit more as far as, who becomes a officer.
I actually am
But
with you. Yeah. But see, when you say they, like, I'm one of those people that I think they should give police officers a psychological test every 2 years. Because in my profession, we have to take CE courses every two
mhm,
years to make sure that,
mhm,
hey, we understand what the update is in the law and stuff like that. And
yeah.
I think after being a police officer and seeing so many multiple things, it kind of changes your view. I don't want to say
Mhm.
distort your view, but it kind of changes your view. Whether you work in whether you work in an all black community, a diverse community, whether you work in a community that does well but has low crime rates, or whether you work in an area where it has high crime rates, it changes your viewpoint, and you take this home with you. So I think
Mhm.
they should. For me, the one reform I would definitely do is I would have police officers get a psychological test every 2 years. If
And I
not every 2 years, at
guarantee
least
you that
every
a lot
4
of them
years.
are not going to be, it's going to be out of a job.
And that's fine. Those are the ones that we don't need, because
Mhm.
those are the same people that probably have a lot of issues as far as like being reprimanded, have a lot of people, a lot of the community people going into the police saying that, hey, I want to file a report on this particular police officer, because you see it time and time again. So recently there was a police officer that, and I want to say it's here in Texas somewhere, but apparently he gave a sandwich with dog feces to a homeless man.
Who?
This police officer did that. The latest news.
Oh,
And what happened was he
wow.
went back telling his other police officer friends, and they told the sergeant what happened. So he got fired from that one police precinct. He got hired on to another police precinct. And the crazy thing is that this one lady, police officer, is like, hey, we're trying to keep the bathrooms clean. Can you keep the bathrooms clean? What he did was he defecated in the bathroom without cleaning it. So any female officer that went in would see what he did. He got fired from that police precinct. Well, guess what? He just got hired on as a sheriff in a third one. He's a top guy in another one. So there's history of these police officers doing crazy things. Now, this is internal for them, right? And probably external because what he did to the homeless person. But I think a lot of times you have these police officers that have been reprimanded before. And the thing is, it's just a slap on the wrist. Because, a
And
lot of times when you're part of a union, the
right.
union can
And
say,
they should
right? So,
they should not when they get fired from jobs for certain things that are like mentally off like that, they should
Unhireable.
not be hired in other areas. Like no other department should be hiring them.
well,
Yes.
And I do believe that they have internal checks when they're looking at an officer's background, when they're trying to transfer or get new jobs in different areas. They see that these people got issues.
yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
My thing is, and I looked and I didn't see, one of you mentioned, Tasha B, I believe it was you saying that they should have a database. I looked, I didn't see where there's a specific database for the police officer. But I think that's where a lot of people are saying that they need to stop qualified immunity. And then also we need to go after them civilly. Because once you go after them civilly, especially with a lot of recent things, you can strip a police officer of their badge or their certificate where they can't work in law enforcement anymore. So, and I actually know somebody that happened too.
But that Candace lady, that activist, she actually is going after people, going after their license, trying to make sure they'll never be
Right.
rehired again,
Welcome back.
which is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
I think they should do that.
Yeah. So now, since you dropped off Apex, we were talking about what would be your implementation in the police department. What would you suggest? I know you all have a strong opinion, my brother.
Change or not? No, I heard everything but Tasha B's, but I'm guessing hers was very intense because she was ready. She got froze on my
Hers
screen
wasn't
and
that
half
intense.
of
You giving her too
listen, I
much
thought she
credit,
was.
man. Hers weren't that intense.
So no, I think again, a lot of the situations, right? So it depends on the area. So the same issues that are in Florida, that's not the same issues that are in Texas, not the same issues in New York. Because the fact of a different area in Florida, it's not a factor. It's huge in New York. In Florida, it's one of those things. It's literally it's a race thing. It's purely race. It doesn't matter the fact of if you're from down south or up. It's a major race thing in Florida in most parts.
Would y'all like to see me
And
become a police officer?
any which way, it was.
I wanted to see our reactions.
You
Well,
in your current state, no.
Personally, I don't have a problem with the police. I might have a problem with an individual officer, but I don't have a problem with the
No problem
police.
with the police. I have been
No, like I said,
saying that
I've
the
been very.
registration was incorrect when it wasn't. I have been stopped one time. I seen this one dude getting his ass beat. I was in South Orlando. I was seeing this one dude getting his ass beat, blood running. Listen, he was going up against a Mike Tyson type of dude, and he was distorted because he was staggering off and everything. But he had blood running down his face. And I remember one time a police officer was driving through this particular area, and I was waving him down. He like, "What do you want?" There's a guy around the corner getting his ass beat. I think he's about to pass out. So it's all about interaction. I remember one time, and I'm not going to call, my best friend, but I'm not going to call his name. I remember one time I had an 85 Buick, peach in color, and I was driving, and a police officer pulled me over. And that's how old I am. And I remember I called your girlfriend, Apex, because it was late night too, because I like hanging out late night. And I called her. And I was like, literally, they had about 5 police officer cars around me, and the police officer, a fat one too. He came out there, and they got the dogs, and I was laughing because at this time I was working at a missile company, and I won't say the name, but Tasha, I was a contractor where your husband works at one time. But anyways, this police officer surrounded me. Oh, get out the car, get out the car. And they're like, do you have drugs on you? And I don't do drugs, never done drugs a day in my life like that. I haven't done drugs. I shouldn't say like that. I've never done drugs.
No,
So let me say, I've never done drugs. I have
no,
never done. I
you
have
have to
not.
tell me
I
right
have not
nobody.
smoked weed. I have not done nothing. Okay, I've just been. I only have one addiction. We're not gonna get into it, but that's not
Mm-mm.
something that's an addiction for me. But
Mm-mm.
anyways,
Yes, it
so
is.
literally there were 5 police officer cars around me, and I was laughing at him. And I'm talking to your girlfriend, Apex. I was like, "Oh, these cops around," and she's like, "Do what they say," and I'm like, "I'm not that type of dude." So the police officer was like, "Do you have drugs on you? Can I search your car?" And I told him no. I literally waited out in front of a gas station for a whole hour for a dog to come sniff around the car. And then he was like, and he ended up giving me all these tickets or whatever it was. And I was just laughing at him. He's like, "Why are you laughing? You have a lot of tickets." I'm like, "I can pay the tickets. It's not a big deal." But he went on and on. I started talking about his weight because he was a fat guy. I don't play with police officers. Back then I didn't play with police officers. I was more militant than I am
Reckless.
now. But I started talking
The
about
word's
his weight
reckless.
while he was in front of his other cop friends. And
His coworkers,
his
the other
coworkers, yeah.
officers,
So
his
finally they
cop
let me
friends.
go. But every interaction that I've ever had with a police officer has always been negative growing up.
Mm.
So I never did like the police officers. Not until 2022 is when I started gaining more respect for them. And even I had police officer friends. I told them I could care less if one of them had died in a shootout.
Oh
It wasn't a
wow!
big deal to me. Yeah,
Oh
because
You,
no,
Oh,
did not.
what was the word?
because they were
Reckless.
nasty. If
Word.
you're a nasty person, you cannot expect people to feel sorry for you or your family when you're a nasty individual. Period. That's how I feel.
True.
So,
Okay.
but not until 2022 when my incident happened, the police officer that actually worked my case, he showed me a different side of a police officer because he was genuine in trying to solve my case. That's what made me change my mind. So
Yeah,
I'm
like
not.
I said, I think again, it goes beyond because I had a view of officers until several situations that came up where they could have literally came in. I mean, we'll just say that it was reported that a situation where, hey, 6'4" black men intruding in the house. I'm afraid for my life.
Right, right.
That's
Yeah,
and then hangs up the phone.
that's
It's
crazy
like,
to me.
what are we doing?
Yeah,
What did you just do? And so about 7 minutes later, two officer cars jumps up into the yard. Come, woo, woo. I'm like, this is gonna be. I'm just sitting at it. I'm just sitting. Uh, they brought this dude. The first officer set. First dude was 6'6", huge black man, and a 6'2" white officer dude comes in. Then the second car that comes up is 6'7" white dude, and then it was a smaller woman officer, like 5'5". These four officers are in the, and they're like, "What happened?" And I'm like, "Yo, I didn't do a thing. It was an argument. That's a deal. That." And I was like, and I'm sitting here like, if this is me coming to a situation, I would have treated me a whole lot different. I was like, this is not going
that's
well.
the thing.
And
Yeah,
and
so
and they came in. They
I
came in and said, first of all, I don't believe that my call was reckless, basically reckless, and stuff like this and nonsense happens. Someone's going to jail, and it won't be him. And I was like, "What? You're gonna
oh, that
side? You're
perception,
gonna
right?
side with me versus
Well,
the female
Charles, you
that's
are
up?"
on the lighter side, so of course. But my dark,
Oh Lord.
No,
my
no,
dark side,
no,
they're like, "Oh, come
no,
here,
no,
Blackie.
no,
Come here,
no,
Blackie."
no,
Like
no,
you got a
no.
cute
It
smile,
was
but come
also
here,
a
So you
Darky.
matter.
trying to say light skin privilege now? That's what we
No,
talking
Exactly
about?
no,
what it
no,
is.
no, no, no. In this
But like
particular case, it was
he
it
closer
was
to outside. He
attitude.
probably
It
got
was part
good.
of it. It was
He don't
it
got
was
that
also
coat.
part of attitude because
My
again,
hair
the way I was
kinky,
at.
so he like that
No,
one there don't got that kinky hair like that
no,
darky over
no,
there.
no.
Now
If
I
I
do
would have
love.
came in
I
like
love
Mr.
being dark
Darky,
skinned. Don't get me
if
wrong.
if
I love being as black as I am.
if I would have acted as black
oh
as you are,
boy.
like you normally do, yeah, I probably would have been in the back
Wait,
of a
wait,
car.
wait, 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 wait.
Now
Hold on.
let's move on.
As black as I do,
You just
yeah,
literally
but you
said the
said
exact.
if you act as black as you do, I don't act that black now.
I'm saying that
Especially
was black. That's black.
brown
I'm gonna
paper
sit here
bag.
for.
That's
I'm gonna
brown
sit
paper.
here
Really,
for.
brown paper bag. Brown paper.
I'm gonna sit here for an hour and wait for a dog. That's black. That's some
Oh my
blackness.
goodness! Look, let me go.
Darkness is
Let me
darkness
look.
is.
Look, that wraps up today's conversation. But let me leave. Let me leave everybody with this. Tonight's discussion is not about choosing sides. It's about recognizing that every tragedy affects people. I'm trying to do more of a closing. Family lose loved ones, communities lose trust, and officers face scrutiny. The case in Mississippi, of course, has once again forced America to ask difficult questions about policing, accountability, and public trust. But for most, perhaps the most important question isn't who wins the argument. It's whether we can find solutions that protect both public safety and human life. So that is my closeout of the day. But thank you all again. Y'all always bring interesting stuff to the conversation, but we definitely have to follow this.
We learned that Apex like to get the cops called on them.
I see. Just remember, everybody
Right.
opinion. Everybody opinion. We would like to hear everybody's perspective and opinion. So please follow us on social media, which will be listed at the end of the video. And we will see you all next time. Thank you all.
Thanks to
Different
the
life.
chat. Thanks to the chat.
You know what, Renee, always follow the chat because I still can't see it. It doesn't show up on my end.
I see it.
Okay, cool.
She said, "I see it. I don't want to respond to it. I see
I
it though.
do.
I
She's
see it."
responding.